Captain Lyra Venn was small. In a world built for giants, she often went unnoticed. Her armor barely reached her knees, and her blades were lighter than most of the weapons carried by the troops around her. They laughed at her at first glance. They did not take her seriously. She stepped onto the training field of the Xylarian military base. The sun burned red over the jagged cliffs. Dust swirled around the massive figures of alien soldiers. Their bodies towered over her. Muscle and exoskeleton gleamed in the light. At the head of them all stood General Korath. He was a legend among his species. Brutal, unyielding, fearless, and enormous. His shadow alone could crush a human. "Ah, the tiny human," Korath bellowed. His voice shook the ground. "Do you think you belong here among warriors?" Lyra's jaw tightened. She did not answer. She never answered. She let her movements speak instead. She drew her twin blades. They shimmered blue in the sunlight. Korath laughed, a deep rumble that echoed across the field. "Look at her," he shouted to the assembly. "She carries daggers, tiny daggers, against my army. She is a child playing at war." The other soldiers snickered. A few whispered bets. No one truly believed she could fight. But that was exactly what Lyra counted on. The general strode forward. Each step made the ground quake. He lifted a massive training blade and swung it in a wide arc. The motion was fast for his size, but predictable. Lyra shifted her stance. Her small boots kicked up dust. She measured his movements. Korath struck again and again. The clang of his weapon on the steel practice post echoed through the canyon. She ducked, rolled, and countered. Her blades moved like lightning. They were small but sharp, faster than any I could follow. The first strike was a test. Lyra's blades cut through the air. Korath barely moved his massive arms. He smirked. "You are fast," he admitted. "But speed alone will not save you." He swung again. This time, the swing was heavier, with intent to crush. Lyra leaped to the side. Her blades danced. Sparks flew as they clipped the edge of his training weapon. A soldier shouted, "She is barely grazing him." Lyra ignored him. Her focus narrowed. She moved closer, small and fast. She darted between his legs. Korath swung down. She rolled under the swing. One blade slid along the ground. Another sliced at his knee. He stumbled. The entire formation gasped. No human had ever landed a hit on Korath. Korath laughed. It was not a laugh of amusement. It was the roar of a beast that smelled blood for the first time. "Interesting," he muttered. "You may yet survive this lesson." Lyra's heart pounded. She knew this was just the beginning. This was not a training exercise. This was a test to prove she could survive among the If she failed, the consequences would be fatal. The general stepped back. His eyes narrowed. "Enough games, human. Show me your strength." Lyra nodded. She did not fear him. She had faced worse than Korath in the shadows of the outer colonies. She had faced pirates who could tear a human in half without hesitation. She had faced beasts from planets no one remembered the names of. Korath swung again. The first real strike. The ground shook. The wind roared in Lyra's ears. She ducked and darted to the side. She struck at his joints. Each hit was precise. Each hit calculated. Korath howled in frustration. His strikes grew reckless. His confidence turned to rage. "You are nothing," he shouted. You cannot match me. Lyra smiled, small but sharp. I don't match you, she said. I surpass you. The words had no meaning to the general yet. He thought her arrogance childish. He thought her size a weakness. He was wrong. Lyra moved like a shadow. Her blades traced arcs of blue fire. Each strike avoided the general's immense strength and targeted weaknesses no one else could see. Every joint, every exposed tendon, every gap in his armor became a mark for her blades. A soldier whispered, "She is attacking like a swarm of knives." Lyra struck the final blow. Her blades sank into the general's shoulder and thigh simultaneously. Korath stumbled back. His knees buckled. Dust rose around him. The field was silent. For the first time in centuries, General Korath was beaten, and not by a brute force equal to his own, but by a tiny human. He looked down at her, shocked. "You, how?" Lyra lowered her blades. She did not gloat. She did not celebrate. She simply said, "You taught me how to survive. I learned your rhythm. Then I used it against you." The general stared. For the first time, he saw a human not as prey, not as weak, but as a warrior. A fighter whose mind was sharper than the largest blade he had ever wielded. Silence fell over the assembly. The soldiers stared at Lyra, then at Korath. Many had doubted her. Now, every one of them knew the truth. Size was nothing without skill. Strength was meaningless without precision. Korath straightened. His massive chest heaved. "Impressive," he admitted. "You are." "Worthy," Lyra nodded. She knew worth was not given. It was earned, and today she had earned it. But the lesson was far from over. Later, the Xylarian Council gathered to discuss the human. Lyra stood alone in the chamber, her small frame dwarfed by the giant chairs and towering officials. Every eye was on her, some curious, some skeptical, some hostile. A voice called out, "How can a human, a creature of such size, defeat one of our greatest warriors?" Lyra raised her head. "Not by size," she said. "By understanding, by skill, by courage. A blade does not strike itself. The mind behind it decides the fate." The council murmured. Some nodded. Some frowned. But all listened. A Xylarian ambassador approached. He was smaller than the other council members, but still enormous by human standards. "You have proven something today," he said. "Not just to General Korath, but to all of us. There is more to your kind than we imagined." Lyra kept her gaze steady. "Do not imagine," she said. "See, learn, adapt." Weeks passed, and the story of the tiny human who bested the largest Xylarian warrior spread throughout the galaxy. Lyra became a legend not because of her size, but because of her skill, her precision, and her courage. She led missions that no one else could. She infiltrated enemy bases. She disarmed traps meant for giants. She survived situations that would have ended entire squads, and everywhere she went, the phrase followed, "The human whose blades never miss." Even Korath learned humility. He became her ally. Together, they trained other soldiers, teaching that precision and intelligence could outmatch brute force. The galaxy changed, one battle at a time. Small warriors became respected. Clever tactics replaced reckless strength. And humans, once underestimated, gained a reputation that would echo for centuries. Lyra never grew taller, never carried larger weapons. She did not need to. Her skill, her mind, and her courage were enough. And every enemy who doubted her learned the same lesson. The size of the warrior does not matter. The size of the heart does. In time, when the galaxy faced threats greater than any single species, it was Lyra and her blades that turned the tide. And every Xylarian child grew up knowing the story of the tiny human who could strike like a storm no giant could escape. Asterisk,